Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about something that's changing the face of online business.
Really changing it.
Yeah, we're talking about headless commerce.
Headless commerce.
Yes.
Now I know what you're thinking.
What am I thinking?
Sounds kind of like something out of like a sci-fi movie, right?
Right out of Star Wars.
But trust me, this is a game changer.
Yeah, it's more than just a trend.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fundamental shift in how we think about online stores and customer experiences.
Yeah, and we've actually got a great article here that was published just today.
Oh, wow.
February 4th, 2025, all about building headless commerce solutions.
Nice.
And get this.
Okay.
It says that by the end of this year, a whopping 35% of businesses will be ditching their old systems for the speed and agility of headlesses.
Now, that's a stat that makes you sit up and take notice, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That's a lot of businesses.
But before we kind of dive into the why, let's break down what headless commerce actually means in practice.
In practice.
So what is it? Like, in a nutshell, is this just like a fancy way of saying we're breaking up with the traditional e-commerce platforms?
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In a way, yes. Headless commerce is all about separating your front end, what your customers see and interact with.
Right.
From your back end, the behind-the-scenes technology that makes it all work.
Okay, so instead of being stuck with like a rigid all-in-one platform, you have the freedom to create a custom experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Right.
You're no longer limited to serving a set menu at a restaurant.
Yeah, okay.
You can customize the dining experience for each customer.
Okay.
Offering them exactly what they want, how they want it.
Okay. I like that analogy. That's a pretty tasty analogy.
Okay.
But I got to ask, why are so many businesses jumping on this headless bandwagon? Like, what's the big deal?
Well, let's look at those businesses ditching their old systems.
Okay.
They're likely facing limitations.
Okay.
Slow loading times.
Yeah.
Difficulty integrating new technologies.
Makes sense.
And a struggle to keep up with evolving customer expectations.
Sure.
Headless solves these problems.
Oh, okay.
By giving them the flexibility to adapt and innovate.
So it's not just about keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
It's about survival.
It is about survival.
And digital age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But it's not just about survival.
Okay.
Headless commerce also unlocks a whole new level of creativity and control.
Okay.
You're no longer limited by templates
and
preset features. You can create unique, engaging experiences that truly differentiate your brand.
Okay. All right. I'm intrigued.
Good.
But color me skeptical.
Okay.
This all sounds great, but isn't headless commerce also a lot more complex and expensive to implement?
That's a valid concern.
Okay.
And it's true that headless does require a certain level of technical expertise.
Oh.
Especially if you go the open source route.
Yeah.
But remember, there are also SaaS solutions available.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah.
That handle a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Exactly.
SaaS, open source. Wait, remind me, what's the difference again?
Think of it like building a house.
Okay.
Open source is like having a set of blueprints and hiring your own contractors.
Okay.
You've got complete control, but you need the expertise to manage the project.
All right. So SaaS is like buying a prefab home.
Yes.
Quicker, easier, but maybe not as customizable.
You got it.
Okay.
Both approaches have their pros and cons.
Right.
And the best choice depends on your resources, technical skills, and how much control you need.
Sure.
But here's the key takeaway, whether you choose open source or SaaS.
Okay.
Headless commerce gives you the freedom to create unique customer experiences that set you apart from the competition.
So it's about finding that right level of control. Yeah.
For your specific needs.
Yes.
And comfort zone.
Comfort zone.
But how does this actually work in the real world?
Well, APIs are the key ingredient here.
Okay.
They're the messengers that allow your front end and back end to communicate seamlessly.
Okay, APIs.
APIs.
Those are starting to sound familiar from some of our other deep dives.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Think of them as the waiters.
Yes.
In our restaurant analogy, they take the customer's order, say a request to add an item to the cart, and relay that information to the kitchen, the back-end system, which then processes the order, and updates inventory.
Exactly.
So even though the kitchen and dining room are separate, they can still communicate effectively thanks to those hardworking waiters.
Yes.
AKA APIs.
APIs, the heroes.
So it's all about creating a smooth, integrated experience.
Yeah.
Even though the systems are decoupled.
Decoupled, love it.
This is really making me rethink how I view online shopping. I know, me too.
But we're talking about more than just websites, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like this article mentions PWAs and all sorts of exciting stuff.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
But before we jump ahead,
okay,
let's first unpack how this impacts you.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So we've talked about the what and the why of headless commerce, but let's get down to like the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
How does this actually impact me?
Yeah. You, the listener.
The listener, the business owner, the person trying to like make a living in this crazy digital world?
I think the impact can be huge.
Okay.
You know, the article mentioned a stat that really jumped out at me.
Okay.
Brands using headless for omnichannel
Okay.
are projected to see a 30% jump
Wow.
in customer satisfaction by 2025.
30%. That's not just like a little bump.
Wow.
That's a whole different ball game.
Different ball game.
But what exactly does that mean, like
Right.
in practical terms?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
A satisfied customer is a loyal customer.
Right.
They're more likely to come back for more,
Sure.
recommend you to their friends, and become advocates for your brand.
Yeah.
And in today's competitive landscape,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of loyalty is priceless.
Okay, I see the value there, but I gotta admit,
Yeah.
the term omnichannel always kind of throws me off a bit.
Sure.
Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, omnichannel basically means providing a seamless customer experience across all touch points.
Okay.
So your website,
Yeah.
your mobile app,
Right.
social media, physical stores,
Okay.
even Internet of Things devices like we were talking about before.
Ah, so it's about creating a consistent experience no matter where or how the customer chooses to like interact with you.
Precisely.
Okay.
And headless commerce is perfectly suited for omnichannel
All right.
because it allows you to manage all these different touch points from a single back-end system.
Okay.
You can update product information, run promotions, and track inventory across all channels without having to jump between different platforms.
So no more juggling act.
Yeah, no more juggling.
It's a smooth, integrated experience for both the customer and the business owner.
For everyone.
Sounds like a win-win to me.
Win-win.
But speaking of different touch points, you mentioned PWAs earlier.
Yes, PWA.
Now, I've heard that term, but I'm honestly a bit fuzzy on what they actually are.
Right.
Can you give us a quick explainer?
Yeah, so PWAs, or progressive web apps,
Okay.
are basically websites that act like apps.
Okay.
They offer features like push notifications,
Mm-hmm.
offline access, and home screen icons,
Okay.
all without requiring users to download anything from an app store.
So they're like the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds.
It's a convenience of an app with the accessibility of a website.
Exactly.
How does this tie into headless commerce?
Well, headless commerce makes it super easy to create PWAs
Okay.
because you can reuse your existing front-end components
Right.
and connect them to your back-end system using APIs. This means you can offer a fast app-like experience without having to build and maintain a separate native app.
So with headless, I could have my main e-commerce website,
Uh-huh.
a PWA for mobile users.
Yep.
And even integrate with like those smart fridges everyone seems to be talking about.
You're not limited to just one head,
Okay.
one way to interact with your customers.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
Endless possibilities. That's exciting.
It is exciting.
But also a little daunting. Like
Yeah.
this whole headless thing seems incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful.
It also pretty complex.
I mean, there is a learning curve.
Any advice for someone who's just starting to wrap their head around all of this?
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed.
Okay.
The first step is to simply start exploring and learning.
Okay.
There are tons of resources available online
Mm-hmm.
and plenty of experts who can help you navigate the world of headless commerce.
Resources are great, but I'm a big believer in learning by doing.
I agree.
Are there any like real world examples
Yeah.
we can look at to see how this is all playing out in practice?
Absolutely. This article highlights a few fascinating case studies.
Okay.
For example, there's a fashion brand that's using headless commerce to power virtual try-ons.
Hold on, virtual try-ons?
Virtual try-on.
Like I can see how a dress looks on me
Yes.
without actually having to try it on.
Exactly.
Mm.
They're using 3D modeling and augmented reality,
Wow.
all powered by their headless commerce backend.
Okay, that's not just future-proof.
No,
That's straight up futuristic.
it is futuristic.
Talk about creating a unique customer experience.
Right.
I'm starting to see how this can go way beyond just like a basic online store.
Right. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible and creating those wow moments that customers remember.
This deep dive is definitely giving me a wow moment.
Good.
But before we get too lost in all the possibilities, let's come back down to earth for a second. We've touched on some of the potential downsides of headless commerce complexity, technical expertise required. Anything else we should be aware of?
One thing to consider is that headless commerce can sometimes be more expensive than traditional e-commerce platforms.
Okay. That makes sense.
Especially in the initial setup phase.
You're essentially building a custom solution.
Right.
Which is usually pricier than going with something off the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also have to factor in like the long-term benefits, the increased flexibility, scalability, and the potential for higher customer satisfaction.
That's right.
So it's an investment, but one that could pay off big time if done right.
Exactly. And that's where careful planning and choosing the right platform come in.
Right.
But that's a conversation for another deep dive.
Okay, fair enough. We've covered a lot of ground today, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what headless commerce can do.
Oh, absolutely. This is a topic we could talk about for hours.
Yeah.
But let's wrap things up with a final thought-provoking question for our listener.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, listener, it's time to put on your thinking cap here. If you could build any customer experience with the power of headless commerce, what would it be?
It's interesting because it goes beyond just like replicating what we already do online.
Yeah.
Headless gives you the tools to imagine entirely new ways to connect with customers.
Okay. I'm picturing like an online store that's also an interactive game.
Ooh.
You earn points for like browsing.
Yeah.
You unlock exclusive deals by like completing challenges.
Nice.
And maybe even get personalized recommendations based on your gameplay style.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It tacks into that idea of gamification.
Right.
To create a more engaging and memorable shopping experience.
Exactly.
Or imagine a furniture store.
Okay.
Where you can use AR.
Augmented reality.
To place virtual furniture in your actual living room.
Oh.
See how it fits. And looks with your existing decor all before you buy.
No more measuring tape mishaps.
Exactly.
And think of the impulse buys.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be adding virtual couches to my cart left and right.
Left and right.
But seriously, these examples really highlight how headless can blur the lines between the physical and digital worlds.
And that's where the real power lies.
Yeah.
We can create experiences that are not only convenient and personalized, but also truly immersive and delightful.
So no more clunky websites, no more frustrating app experiences.
Nope.
Just smooth, seamless, and, dare I say, enjoyable.
Enjoyable, yes.
Interactions with brands.
Exactly, and that's what ultimately drives customer satisfaction, loyalty, and long-term success.
Well, folks, I think it's safe to say we've officially had our minds blown wide open.
Blown wide open.
By headless commerce today. Yeah. To recap, we learned that it's all about separating the front end and back end of your online store, giving you the flexibility to create custom experiences that truly stand out.
Absolutely.
It allows you to adapt to new technologies, integrate with whatever crazy new gadgets come out next, and ultimately provide a better experience.
Better experience.
For both you and your customers.
That's right.
And remember that stat?
Which one?
A 30% jump in customer satisfaction.
That's huge.
That's not something to ignore.
No.
It's a powerful reminder that investing in the right technology can have a huge impact on your bottom line.
Absolutely.
So if you're feeling stuck with a clunky old system, or just want to explore the cutting edge of what's possible in e-commerce, it's time to take a serious look at headless commerce. That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.